In this video, we talk about Hawkins. We're gonna focus mostly on foreseeable things that he could be doing in the story starting chapter 991 of the manga, then we'll briefly tackle his possible matchups in Wano and bounty increases after the war. It's gonna be fun, so let's get right into it. And let's start with this background first, because I'll be using his personality as a reference for a few theories. Now, Hawkins is calm and mysterious, we all know that. So calm, in fact, that when he was just a rookie, knowing full well that Kizaru was in front of him, he was unfazed or undisturbed. He didn't mind Kizaru's presence at all. Neither did he mind Kizaru's threats. Yes, he predicted that he wouldn't be dying that day, but I don't recall him predicting that he wouldn't be captured either, right? Him not showing any emotion in front of danger is really gangster. Well, it's really interesting, or should I say was. Along with that, he is a no-nonsense, logical and crafty person that occasionally resorts to unfair methods to win against worthy opponents that get on his way. In his way, rather. He doesn't usually harm innocent people, which is contradictory, because when I thought that he was a kind-natured guy, when we saw that he even stopped a crew member from hurting civilians back in Sabodi Archipelago, he uses other people's lives to give him extra lives when in combat, right? So he uses those lives as collateral when he needs to make a deal. And all of these things make you wonder what Hawkins accomplished for him to get his bounty up to 249 million. His first bounty, right? Did he take out someone strong, or was it because he uses innocent people to make sure that he survives? We mostly saw pirates taking the hit for him, and the world government shouldn't really be considering him as a bad pirate because of that, right? Because those are still pirates and not really innocent civilians. When Kizaru fought him at Sabodi Archipelago, Kizaru didn't seem to know what the extent of Hawkins' abilities were. So a little backstory on Hawkins would be great. So now Hawkins is one of the many headliners or Shinuchi of Kaido's crew. He's strong enough to be considered as a super rookie, part of the worst generation, and only became a headliner in a Yonko's crew. And that says a lot about Yonkos in general. Their overall battle strength is insane, and this dude has a bounty of 320 million belly at the moment. And at this point, we have seen him survive fatal attacks from Zoro, Kizaru, because of his devil fruit, of course. We don't know too much about his feats, but he was seen by the world government as a big enough threat and forced them to put that much of a bounty on him. We also saw him cutting a deal with Law, which is very curious, to say the least. He let the lives of Law's crew members go free, but Law had beat him up and escaped from prison. So that could have been a fake, and Drake and Hawkins would have could have been in this scenario altogether. But Drake might have been forced to show his hand a little bit too early because of what the cards had told Hawkins, right? Because he could have been predicting Drake's future or Drake's fate in Wano. So Law's escape might have been within the plan of Hawkins and Drake, so that Kaido and Orochi's men wouldn't be suspicious of him. So this under the table exchange is really quite interesting to me because if this was the case, he even pinned it on Drake. He mentioned this on the last chapter that Drake was the only one that could have let Law go, when in fact he was there. Oda was setting this up as Law betraying the alliance with Luffy. even going so far as telling Beppo and the other crew members not to ever mention that Law was caught. Now, Queen is a very logical person himself, so it's a battle of wits here. It would be safe to assume that Hawkins knows this and is covering his tracks as much as he can, because he knows that Queen would not stop trying to figure out all the loose ends. Now, Hawkins got in a fight with Law before he escaped, but we saw a silhouette there which most people, including me, assume it was Drake, because Drake was right there a few chapters back. The silhouette shown was wearing a cape and had similar type of boots that Drake was wearing. But as we've seen in the most recent chapter, Hawkins and Drake had quite a few exchanges with each other. First, we have the scene that Drake was urging, no, he was kind of coaxing or giving Hawkins ideas to actually betray Kaido, which tells us that they aren't really in this together, maybe as of now. I know it's obvious, well, it's obvious now, but I was actually thinking that a month or two ago that Hawkins was letting Law go and that this was according to his plan to fake an escape. And because we saw someone that looked like Drake, that Drake was the mastermind of this plan. Or that Drake was lurking in the shadows and that he would be selling out Hawkins to the All-Stars and Kaido, right? Because that's also a possible scenario. But it was mind-blowing because it was the other way around. I really didn't expect Hawkins to sell out Drake.
Bruh.
We all know that Hawkins was trying to predict the fate of someone, then he mentions that that person has a 1% chance of surviving the day. It was implied that this was Luffy, and if it is, it's obviously a good sign because back in the Marineford War, Hawkins did that too, and Luffy's chances of surviving never reached zero. But I still think this is a classic misdirection from Oda. That's like zero fun for the audience if it was Luffy that Hawkins was talking about, right? Because we all know he's going to survive. He's the main character. He would obviously survive. Personally, I prefer Hawkins to be referring to Kaido simply because I believe that would be awesome. There are a lot of things that could happen that could contribute to Kaido having those bad odds. There are so many notable characters that could be thinking of betraying Kaido and his crew. He gathered a huge crew because of torturing and breaking the spirits of these pirates. So Luffy, being the inspirational slash motivational speaker that he is, all that empathy and passion will surely flow out, and these broken-willed characters may find a little ray of hope in Luffy. In a previous video, I mentioned a couple theories about the possible characters that have a reasonable motive to betray Kaido and his crew, or they might be just acting suspiciously enough to warrant my suspicions. And these are Black Maria, Who's Who, Sasaki, Hawkins, and Hote. Maybe even Fukurokuju. And really, they give me a few vibes of betrayal right there, the way they were acting a few chapters back. Anyway, if this does happen, surely it will turn the tide of the battle in Wano. The sheer numbers will totally help eliminate and tire out Kaido's forces, maybe even Kaido and Big Mom themselves. I can imagine Kaido and Big Mom being surrounded by everyone left standing in Onigashima, trying to take them down. And that's why I think it's possible that Hawkins might have seen Kaido's chances surviving this day. Another character that Hawkins could have been referring to with the 1% prediction was or is Law. They struck a deal before when Law was caught and it was supposed to be in someone's plan, as Law mentioned. Hawkins released the Heart Pirates' lives, but we don't know if Law's life was included in those that were released. Also, we don't know what kind of deal Hawkins struck with Law, and it seems like a big betrayal because of how that whole thing went down, and how Oda has been keeping this pretty silent for now is really suspicious. And another one of those characters that Hawkins could be referring to is Hawkins himself. It's reasonable to try and predict your own odds, but we don't know if Hawkins was telling Drake the truth about this. If the deal with Law was about Hawkins joining Luffy's side at the right time, then he could have calculated the chances of him succeeding or surviving the battle in Wano, and he told Drake something else completely, because Drake could be suspicious of Hawkins and he could rat him out to the All-Stars or even Kaido, right? Personally, I highly doubt that he was looking into Drake's chances since he was there with him, but it's possible. And if he was really referring to Drake about the 1% chance of surviving, then Oda might be planning something big for Drake. He could be finally popping his cherry
No.
and actually killing Drake off. But we all know Oda. That's very unlikely to happen. Anyway, I think that Hawkins could possibly grow his bounty to about 650 million belly. I believe this is a bit high, but he should be considered as a stronger character than Usopp, Brook, and Robin. So I think that this bounty is a reasonable amount. I wouldn't be surprised if it's lower, something like 450 million, because the bounty of Hawkins and its growth was from 249 million the first time we saw it, and to now, which is around 320 million. And that's a pretty slow growth in his bounty. So I don't think that the world government really views Hawkins as a big threat to them.
Nope.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a bit lower than 650 million belly. I'm just thinking that it could grow to that amount because, well, he would be helping the Straw Hats take down Kaido, right? And that's something. And lastly, let's talk about Drake coaxing Hawkins to betray Kaido. I think it's only a matter of time before Hawkins does betray Kaido. Yes, he's always following the cards, but I think that the first chance he gets to break away from the Beast Pirates, he would take it. Especially because of the confidence that you get from being with Luffy and the Straw Hats. Like when he checked the chances in the fight against Kizaru. The moment he understood that he wouldn't be dying, he continued on to fight with Kizaru. So Hawkins isn't really a pushover and he really tries to do what he can as long as the cards say that he has good odds of succeeding, right? So I really expect Hawkins to betray Kaido when the situation is looking pretty bad for the Yonko Alliance and looking up for Hawkins. Then Kaido goes, "Just because you have the numbers doesn't mean you can defeat me. Wah-rah-rah-rah-rah."
It was at this moment that he knew.
And that would be badass. Just imagine an angry, bleeding blue dragon in the night sky, just laughing, surrounded by everybody that wants to take him down, but he won't go down without a fight. So that's totally badass. Anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Crush the like button if you did, as if you were Hawkins, crushing Drake in the betrayal game. Cunning and deadly. And comment down below what you think about Hawkins betraying Kaido. Subscribe to the channel so it could grow, hit the notifications button so I could provide you with that One Piece content that you really, really want. So, stay safe now. Peace!